Hello, my friends. I want to talk to you guys about an older case, but one that's really mind-boggling when you look back at it, and that has had recent developments, that of a missing woman named Birgit Meier, who vanished at a pretty young age in the year 1989 from Lunsburg, Germany. Although this case is now a few decades old, it's only in the last year or two that there have been really any resolution or major updates to the case, and to family members such as Birgit's brother, who's pursued the case for years and years and years. In 1989, Birgit Meier goes missing from her home in Lunsburg, Germany, mysteriously, does not show up, couldn't be heard from, no indication that she's out there living her life or anything like that. And initially, authorities believe that it's possible she might have taken her own life, or that possibly her husband had some kind of involvement in her disappearance. Then a few weeks into the investigation, they find a connection to a man named Kurt-Werner Wichmann. Wichmann is a gardener for the Lunsburg Cemetery, and he'd also previously done some gardening work for the Meyer's neighbors. It was found out that he had met Birgit Meier at a party recently and had begun to talk to her to some extent. He's brought in for questioning, although the case is very flimsy. He provides an alibi with his wife that ends up not holding up, but it was never looked further into. It also comes out later on that he didn't disclose that he was taking sick time throughout the time of her disappearance, which he did not mention. A number of details were just really not followed up very well by the authorities at that point in time. Now skip forward to 1993. A few years later, there's a new prosecutor in Lunsburg. Somebody else takes up this case, and they start to make all these connections and start to realize that indeed Kurt-Werner Wichmann was very likely responsible for the disappearance of Birgit Meier. Charges are placed against him for this case. He is picked up for a traffic violation in his vehicle with his younger brother and arrested. Now he spends a number of days inside of his cell awaiting for all the trials to start before taking his own life. Now when this happens, he leaves a number of strange letters for his remaining family, for his brother, one of them using the term to clean out the gutters, which has been thought to be some kind of code for getting rid of evidence or such forth. As a matter of fact, they searched his home and his property, and they found all sorts of strange things, such as a hidden torture room, which was sealed off, soundproofed. They dug up the backyard and found an old vehicle that was spotted with blood. They find all these sedatives and handcuffs and all sorts of evidence that seems to indicate he was involved in some crazy things. The one thing that they don't find, however, on his property is Birgit Meier herself. She is still missing, has not been found. Now, Birgit's brother is a police officer, Wolfgang, and he never gave up on the case. He's always pursued it. He's continued to dedicate his life in some regard to making sure that she is found and that there is some justice brought to all of this, especially after Kurt-Werner Wichmann's life ended. In 2017, he is the one that helps to find her body on a property that was previously owned by Kurt-Werner Wichmann, and she is found buried underneath the concrete on that property. Now, another thing that was noted is that after the death of Kurt-Werner Wichmann, a number of the strange missing cases and deaths and murders in the area of Lunsburg seemed to stop abruptly, many believing for years that he was involved in them. And since that time, they've identified 24 unsolved cases, including Birgit Meier's, which they believe that Kurt-Werner Wichmann was responsible for. They believe he was a dedicated serial killer and had taken the life of many, many people all those years ago. It's an interesting case, my friends, one from outside of the United States, one that doesn't get enough coverage, but very sadistic, very strange, very dark. And yet also good to see that the family, after all of these years, has some form of resolution, some form of closure. Many of the missing cases that we cover simply don't get that kind of closure, no matter how many years go on. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss the next one like it. A big shout out to the patrons of this channel for supporting the channel through thick and thin. Always appreciated. I hope you guys have an amazing day, an amazing Thanksgiving if you're watching this around that time when it comes out, or if afterwards, you know, whatever holiday is going on nearest you. And stay safe out there, my friends. Stay warm. I'll talk to you again. And as always, adios amigos.